function. Okay, so remember, e is a number, 2.71828, and it goes on and on and on and on, just like pi. So 1 over b would be 1 over e, and then for b we would just put the e. If you notice on this side, again, I've put the a, h, and k parameters, their value. A is 1 because the coefficient of e right here is 1. And then kh is 2 because that's the number up there, and then k is negative 1 because that's what we subtracted from the function, negative 1. So we're ready to do the transformations. Since a is 1, that means we multiply the y's by 1, so it doesn't change them. They stay as they are. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to apply the h and k. So that means that we add 2 to the x's and subtract 1 from the y's. So this becomes 2 minus 1 is 1, and then 1 over e minus 1. 2 plus 0 is 2, and then 1 minus 1 is 0, and then 2 plus 1 is 3, and then e minus 1 is e minus 1. At this point, I take a calculator and, for the first and third point, of course not for the second one, that one stays 2, 0, but I take a calculator and I get 1 over e, and then I subtract that from that, and I get negative 0.6. So the point is 1, negative 0.6. For the other one, I get 3 e minus 1. So actually, I don't need a calculator for the third point. 2.7 minus 1 is 1.7. And so then I graph these 3 points right here. Okay. So you see the x and y axis on the right. Let's see, first thing we draw is the horizontal asymptote. So that's at y equals negative 1. Then I plot the points, 1, negative 0.6. So that would be about here. Then 2, 0. And then 3, 1.7. So that's 1.5 about here. Okay, connect the 3 points. And there you have it. So for the domain, it's all reals, because this is an exponential. The range is all y such that y is greater than negative 1. The the horizontal asymptote is y equals negative 1. And the end behavior is going to be, again, remember, it's what's happening here and what's happening here. So as x goes to negative infinity, y goes towards negative 1. And as x goes to positive infinity, y goes to positive infinity, okay, or just infinity. And that's it for that one. Alright, so number 9, you have y equals negative 4/3 e to the x minus 3. So just like before, I've identified the parameters, a, h, and k, and now we're ready to apply them to our 3 reference points. So for the first one is we apply the a, which means that you're going to multiply all the y's by negative 4/3. So that's going to give you negative 1. 1 over e times negative 4 over 3 is negative 4 over 3e. Okay, then the next one would be 0, negative 4/3. And then the third one is 1 minus 4e over 3. Okay, the next thing is we apply the h and k. H is 0, so x does not change, but the y does again. So k, so that means we're going to subtract 3 from all the y values. So you get negative 1, negative 3 minus 4 over 3e. And then 0. Now, negative 4/3 is negative 1 1/3. And so if we subtract 3 from that, that gives us negative 4 1/3. And then for the third point, it's 1, negative 3 minus 4e over 3. Okay? So now you take a calculator to get the decimal values for each of these. So let's see, negative 1. Just a word of caution, when you're inputting the first one, you make sure you tell your calculator that 3e is together in the denominator. So you got to make sure that you put parentheses around the 3e when you input it in your calculator. If you do that right, you should get, let's see, negative 3.5. So negative 3.5. And then the next one is negative 4.3, because 1/3 is 0.3333 forever. And then the last one, negative 3 minus 4e divided by 3 gives you negative 6.6. So again, make sure you know how to use your calculator to get these values. Okay? So now we're ready to graph it. Alright, so for the graph, the first thing we plot or draw on the graph is your horizontal asymptote. So in this case, it's y equals negative 3. So let's see, 2, 3 would be here. And then you plot the other point, the 3 points, negative 1, 3, negative 3.5. So let's see, about here. And then 0, negative 4.3. So about here. And then 1, negative 6.6. So 4, 6. About here. Okay, connect those 3 points. Oops, missed the third one by a little bit. That's okay. And so there's your graph. So the domain, all reals. The range, all y such that y is less than negative 3. The horizontal asymptote is y equals negative 3. The end behavior is, again, we want to see what's happening, or we want to say what's happening here and what's happening here. What's happening at the ends, okay? So it's going to be as x goes to negative infinity, y goes to negative 3. And as x goes to positive infinity, y goes to negative infinity. And that's it for that one.